Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Reviewed Anything and Everything. And today I actually want to do a little bit of a follow-up review, specifically when it came to this air fryer in regards to just cooking a certain thing. I wanted to cook a couple of hamburgers, and I figured why not show that on the channel so that way you guys can get an idea of how that cooks, because it's my first time cooking hamburgers in the air fryer. So figured why not, because a lot of people have tuned in for my air fryer unboxing and review when I first did it, and it helped a lot of people in terms of just kind of knowing how air fryers work in general, this specific one, just a lot of different things. So I wanted to kind of show that. I thought it'd be very interesting. So let's jump into this. All right, so we have our little setup right now, and I just finished going food shopping, so I was in the mood for some burgers. Now, I actually looked at a video that had showed that they put some burgers in the air fryer and they said you could put it in for 7 minutes. I don't know if I trust beef for 7 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is similar to my experience with a steak, where normally with steak, depending on the thickness or not, I usually always start with about 22 minutes, and then the halfway point, I'll flip it upside down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm really debating between just putting it in straight, which will allow it to cook deeper on both sides, because you know you have the plate there, which gives it some room on the bottom. Or usually what I do with steak is I cook steak in tinfoil, because it makes the cleanup a lot more easier. You flip it, it really doesn't have a problem with cooking the way I want it to. So in this case, I would end up getting a whole bunch of grease. I think for this time, I'm gonna try and test out doing it with the tinfoil. So I'm gonna rip a sheet off now, and we're gonna try that out. I am actually in the mood for 2 burgers. I'm gonna see if I can fit 2 burgers inside the tray. But I think of the size of these burgers, I might not be able to do that. So let's see. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, to fit them in there like that. Now, I don't necessarily need a burger to be well done. I guess everyone to each their own, but this is definitely going to give you guys a sense of, from the end of this video, at what level do you need to put it in to get it to that point. But I just realized something now as I'm opening this. A lot of times when I cook my steak, I cook it from frozen. Sometimes I'll cook it not from frozen when I first come into the house, like I am now, from grocery shopping or buying some food. I am a little skeptical, and I think I can fit 2 burgers. I'm a little skeptical on the fact that, being that this is not frozen, wondering to myself, how long will that affect the cooking? So let me do some calculations in my head, and I'm gonna say it out loud so you guys can calculate with me. So don't mind, I'm just washing my hands. So normally, like I said, with the steak, I do 22 minutes. Now, the steak, I don't mind having it a little crispy in certain areas, where a burger, I really just want it to be juicy. So with that being said, I would say in comparison for a burger, I will bring it down to maybe about, I'm gonna say, to be a safe side, because I wanna make sure everything's cooked, let's go with 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna subtract about maybe 2 minutes, maybe, because it's not frozen. So 12 minutes. So we're gonna try to do 12 minutes and see how it turns out. All right, so I'm glad I was able to fit both patties in at the same time. We're gonna do that equation that I just said. We're gonna do the 15 minutes. And we're gonna go 400 degrees. So what I just did off screen is I told my smart speaker to set an alarm for 7.5 minutes. And the reason why I do that is because, though on the original review I had showed that this will make a beep sound, and it'll say shake, and what that simply means is flip the item or shake it up, so that way the halfway point, you can get both sides if you're cooking on both sides, or shake up whatever's in there. I usually do that with the smart speaker just to make sure that on the off chance that, let me turn this light off here, on the off chance that I'm in a different room and I don't hear it off the beep, because that's happened before, that the alarm will go off. So I definitely recommend that to you guys as well, to set an alarm. So that way, if you're not sure of the halfway point, you can do that. In addition, the halfway point really is your recovery time. So what I mean by that is that, say if you're seeing how it's going, you're seeing how it's cooking, and it looks like, okay, like it's gonna end up probably needing more. You can still flip it, but at that point, when it gets near the end, it'll appear over here, add 2 minutes, and then you just press the add 2 minutes button. And then from there, if you need, it's weird how the high fry button pops up. It's because it doesn't always pop up. But generally speaking, near the last 2 minutes or so, it will pop up. And when you press high fry, it'll automatically reset that time to 2 minutes. So say if it's 1 minute and 30 seconds left, you press high fry, it will make it 2 minutes of high fry. Now with a burger, I wouldn't do that. With a steak, I do, because I don't mind the ends being crispy while the inside is soft. But with a burger, I don't want that. So we're just gonna run its course, and we're gonna be back and see how it's looking during the halfway point. All right, guys, we are back, and we are gonna take a look at these burgers. So you could see, get some extra light here. They're all red and bloody right now. So what we're gonna do is we are going to flip these now. They're soft, but the only thing that I'm a little worried about right now is, are they gonna cook all the way through? Now, the underside, as you could see here, is pink. The top just has a lot of blood, but it looks like it could be browning, but at the same time, it's hard to tell because of all that blood. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that if I was cooking without the tinfoil, we wouldn't have to worry about that as much, because I think a lot of the juices would sink down and it wouldn't be cooking its own juices. But the reason why I don't mind this is because I'm viewing it almost like the standpoint of, if we cooked it in a frying pan, it would still be in its own juices. So let's see if we can get this to come out pretty good. So we have a total of, what's left, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. So we're gonna see if in that time frame how it's gonna be looking. I really do hope, but it's nothing to be discouraged about, because like I said before, after this hit halfway point, we're able to kind of assess where we're at. We see that it doesn't look like it's where it's gonna need to be, probably in another half of that same amount of time, but we'll always be able to extend it an additional 2 minutes. Something I like to do also when it comes to the steak is I like to slice into the steak. Now, we don't want a completely sliced and diced burger. Usually with the steak, I don't mind chopping it in little pieces for this purpose, but if I wanted to cook better on the inside, I will slice it up. So maybe here we might cut a small piece off the edge if we need to, just to kind of see if it's red in the inside. But usually you can tell from the outside where it's at, and the inside, if the outside is starting to get really brown, and you usually could tell. So we're gonna see, but with the burger, may have to flip it on both sides to kind of fully see. So we're gonna check. Okay, we are back. Let's see how this thing is looking. All right, so I can't fully tell right now. Let's push some of this stuff off here. I'm gonna cut into this here a little bit if I can. Let's see how that's looking. So I know on the top here, there's a little bit of still blood, so that makes it a little hard to really notice, but it does look good. It looks cooked, but the inside, let me get this on here so you guys can see it a little better. The inside is pink. It's like, what is that? Like medium medium well or something. I don't know all the terms, but it's not fully done. I'm sure it's not bad though, but it definitely is not fully cooked. And I prefer it to be more cooked. Now, like I said, a big part of that could just be the fact that also I have it inside its own juices, and that's playing a role. Let's look at the other side here. Okay. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to leave it in for probably another 2 minutes. I'm going to put the setting on, and that's what I was telling you guys before, the 2-minute setting. We're going to press it and let it do its thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trust that it is done at this point. We did the extra 2 minutes. I don't want them to be overly hard, overly tough, and they seem good so far. So what I'm going to do is take my buns, and these are not normal hamburger buns, but I also had grabbed these simply because I'm also going to do some sandwiches also. So I figured let me do a 2-for-1. Now, I am going to take out one of the burgers here. You can see how that's looking right there. It's weird because I feel like I've never really seen a burger like this. Every time I cook it, I normally cook it in the pan. Very greasy because all the grease stays in that spot. So, I mean, one thing you could do if you want, and I normally do this, I'm not going to do it right now, but a lot of times I'll put this on a paper towel first, kind of let it drain out, and then eat it. So you can see some of the pink is coming off on there, but it's definitely should be cooked. But a lot of that is because of the blood that was underneath inside the in the air fryer. What I'm going to do with that last piece though is what I am going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cheese and I am going to just lay that onto the burger there. And then I'm going to put that back in for I'm going to press the 2-minute time, but I'm not going to leave it in for the full 2 minutes. But I don't have to reset the time by doing that. So that was good. You can see it's got some reddish in it, but some people like their burgers like that. It's definitely tasty though. So, but we'll be back after I've cooked the cheese on it. All right, guys, so we are back. Let me get this burger out. There it goes. I did 30 seconds, so the cheese pretty much melts in 30 seconds. And that is it, you guys. So that is burgers cooked in the air fryer. Gives you a ballpark of the time and how it cooks. Like I said, I did it in foil. If you don't want to do it in foil, you don't have to. But the thing about it, when you do it in foil, as I mentioned before in the beginning, see all that mess? Instead of having to clean all that out, I can just literally dump it out now. And I don't have to do anything with this but put it back into the air fryer waiting to be cooked again. That's how I do my steaks. So if that works for you, or I hope that this video really helped for you guys to get an idea of things, a sense of things. Obviously not only just with the air fryer, how it works, but just as far as cooking burgers. So this is pretty much an updated review. And as always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm gonna enjoy my burgers.